Chapter 4. Riley Madison reclined against the back seat of the moving Jeep and stared at the screen of her smartphone. It hadn't stopped flashing messages since she'd snapped her seatbelt into place and pulled out the device. She was disgusted with social media. She was tired of being so accessible to the public. Her life wasn't that interesting. All she wanted to do was make music and perform it. Why was that such a hard thing to do? When had it become so difficult? Where were her adoring fans who simply wanted to be entertained by her vocal skills and her guitar? Long gone, Riley thought cynically, as she tapped the icon of a little white bird surrounded by a blue square and watched a new screen appear. How many different ways could a story be tweeted? Who had time to post all of these comments, she wondered. She was tempted to disconnect from all social media, but she couldn't very well blog or unfriend the hundreds of thousands of fans who were flooding her accounts daily. Or could she? The beautiful entertainer was tempted to do just that. She needed a break. She needed time to think about Blake Steele and his wife. She sighed sadly. How was she supposed to fix this mess? How had the press gotten pictures of the legendary country singer leaving her hotel room? It had been so late. Didn't they ever sleep? Apparently not, she thought, worrying over the situation. Her meeting with Blake had been an innocent one. Riley wanted to call him, but considered it unwise. If she reached out to her friend, that would probably only add to the scandal. No, she'd better let Blake do all of the talking. It was his marriage that was in trouble, so if it was worth saving, it had better be his doing. Riley opened the photo album on her phone and began swiping through pictures of her clinging to handsome musicians, professional athletes, and male models. She felt lonely. She wanted a lover. She wanted a man to share her bed, someone to hold her, a man that she could make love to and share her future dreams with. Her mind drifted to Bryce Carson. Why hadn't she met him sooner? He looked like a man worth getting to know. Riley thought of his excellent physique. She imagined his muscular body and wondered whether he was truly an innocent. It was hard for her to believe that he hadn't indulged in sex. Was that even possible? She questioned cynically. Did the man even know how to kiss a woman properly? Riley considered his lips. They were nice lips. He had an attractive mouth. What type of kisser was he? Was he the open mouth kind? Did he use his tongue? Was he a biter? How much pain did he like with his pleasure? Riley smiled and continued to daydream about the hot and sexy Hollywood star. Did he put everything into his kisses? Or was he a closed mouth and not fully invested kisser? Riley smiled skeptically and hoped that was not the case. Although she was fascinated by the notion of his innocence, she was used to experienced lovers. She never met a male virgin. She wasn't exactly sure what to do with one. Suppose she found him lacking in the art of kissing. What then? Could she coach him? Teach him? Would it be worth the effort? She knew of many ways to exchange a kiss. The intimate encounter could be hot and dizzying, or slow and sensual, or light and lazy. It all depended on the mood of the couple and their preference. Riley thrilled at the idea of kissing Bryce Carson as her mind drifted to other forms of foreplay. Was he familiar with all of the exciting ways to manipulate a female body before actual intercourse? How much did he know about pleasing a woman? Did he even know how to bait his sexual passion? Could he maintain his composure long enough to satisfy a lover before he peaked? Riley chastised herself sternly. He wasn't a priest. He didn't live in a rectory. Of course he knew how to do those things. Bryce was a young, virile man, and Riley assumed that he had a healthy appetite for both women and sex. The country singer shook the images of the sexy actor from her head. She could still feel his hands on her throat. She could still feel his hungry gaze on her body. She wanted the man. Riley hadn't had a lover in months. The idea of kissing Bryce Carson was extremely tempting. Making him her lover was an even more appealing thought. The beautiful black singer glanced at the vivid photos of herself French kissing an ex-boyfriend on an outdoor patio on New Year's Eve. Courtesy of the press. The news media was everywhere, at every party, whispering in everyone's ear. She smiled with nostalgia despite the intrusiveness of the paparazzi. That year had started perfectly. Riley swiped past more pics that showed a topless and very drunk Riley Madison stripping at a private birthday party. She didn't have to wonder how those photos got out. Close friends with cell phones are always the paparazzi's best friend. The news media was never far away. Hadn't she just learned that an hour ago when she and her bodyguards left the clothing boutique? Riley paused when she saw a picture of herself hugging Blake Steele. She frowned. It must have been taken after one of their recording sessions. The caption below the photo suggested that the two of them were having an affair. She wondered if Blake's wife had seen the picture. Riley groaned. "It's not true. I do not sleep with married men. I like Blake. He's a friend. I would not do that to him or his family," she confessed in a sad little voice. "Why do people always think the worst of me? I do have some morals." One of Riley's bodyguards glanced into the rearview mirror and spoke softly. "Miss Madison, don't take it too hard. Wes and I know the truth, and so do your fans. You and Mr. Steele are two talented singers who just produced the #1 country album of the year. That's all that's important. Everything else will work itself out. The man loves his family. He will not let a rumor destroy it." "Thank you. Just ignore my rambling. I must have been thinking out loud." "No problem, Miss Madison. Try to relax. We'll get you to your hotel room where you can rest up for a while. Your television interview isn't until late this afternoon." "I feel like canceling it. I am tired of staring in the lens of a camera. I really should, but my mother would have an out-and-out fit." "Oh well," she sighed, letting go of the pleasant idea. "That's what I get for having a mommy as a manager. Even if I tried doing that, she'd call me on it and drag me out of my suite. Never work with family, Wes. They know all your secrets." "I'll keep that in mind, Miss Madison." The country singer became quiet and focused once again on her photo album. She caught glimpses of herself doing even more salacious things. Had she really dated an Egyptian billionaire for 2 months, only to dump him at the international airport after returning home from the continent of Africa? "I never claimed to be a saint," she muttered, as she stared at the image of a naked and much younger Riley diving into a swimming pool with the youngest son of the Canadian Prime Minister. Riley couldn't recall how she and the handsome playboy met, or why they ended their dating cycle. It probably had lots to do with politics and nothing to do with physical chemistry. "That was also a private pool party," she muttered, before closing the photo app. The shots had been taken by a freelance photographer during a summer vacation in Brazil. Wasn't she allowed to play and have fun? She worked hard for her money, and she intended to enjoy its benefits. However, since the Blake Steele scandal broke, her entire past seemed to be resurfacing at an alarming rate. Her life was very public, and suddenly under intensive scrutiny. A lot of Riley's followers were going to be displeased with the idea of their singing idol wrecking the marriage of the iconic country singer, Blake Steele. The young entertainer would have been surprised at how quickly she was labeled the other woman. The trollop, the strumpet, the hussy. Riley tried to ignore the photographic trip down memory lane, which was still making headlines on the various news websites across the internet. The country diva paused to skim a few articles. Her frown deepened. She hadn't realized that the number of boyfriends she'd collected in the past 5 years listed in the double digits. Had it been that many? It wasn't possible. She hadn't kept a running total, but the number couldn't be that high. The beautiful country singer began to count. When she arrived at a much higher number than the one reported on the screen, she became startled. But then, a slow, gradual smile formed on her face.